Weekend in, weekend out, Motorsport Australia officials are making waves. From waving flags, waving cars through pit lane, or responding to a wave for help. Wave hello to new lifelong friends. Who knows, you might just make waves around the world. Ride the first wave. Search Motorsport Australia officials today.
Well, here on SimSpeed TV, it's time for one more new series to broadcast, of course, in partnership with Motorsport Australia in their continued expansion into sim racing. It's the Motorsport Australia Dirt Rally, the first event here in Australia. We'll be going to New Zealand for Event 2 in the very near future as well. This is a little bit of a getting the band back together thing for us here at SimSpeed TV. I'm Reese Gardner, Jay Kennedy's broadcasting behind the scenes, and Bo Albert is with me in the comms box. Bo, the last time we did this was Luca's original test event for Dirt Rally 2.0, something like 3 years ago. We're finally here.
Absolutely. I always said to Jay, look, if I'm going to go back to commentary, it has to be for a good event, and what's better than Rally? I mean, it is absolutely fantastic. I love the chaos it always provides. And last time we were at the Australian Rally as well, and we saw some of the most wild and out of control jumps imaginable. And you know what? With the talented grid we have here for tonight's race, I think we're going to see even bigger jumps than we saw last time. So I say bring it on.
Yeah, I say bring it on as well. Of course, we do have the Australia Rally to start things off. This is a very interesting sequence of stages. We've got 5 of them to start things off in Monaro. And of course, the stages running about 6 to 7 Ks each, at least for the first 4 of them. The 5th stage, 12.5 kilometers long, and it's all dirt gravel roads surrounded by rocks, trees, and fences. It's going to be a massive challenge for the drivers in these R5 rally machines.
Yeah, these things aren't slow. They've got plenty of power behind them, about 300 horsepower, which for some of you from the tarmac scene might be like, oh, 300 horsepower, it's a TCR car. No. 300 horsepower on these dirt roads is chaos. These are lightning fast. Some, even though they're lower power, just running times as quick as Group B cars. So there's going to be some very high-speed racing here, so don't be worried about that at all. But yeah, like you say, there are some long stages here. One of them weighing in at 12 kilometers long. It's going to be about 7 minutes long in total. But stage 1, we're taking it easy, just 6.9 kilometers long race.
Yep, Rockton Plains. Very interesting looking stage to start things off. Looks like some gentle bends going up towards the actual finish line of the stage, but you can see it goes through quite a bit of bush and plenty of tight corners all over the place. Of course, there's been a big lead up to this event. Motorsport Australia hosting a qualifying series over the last few weeks. The top 6 from that qualifying series are competing tonight. We've got the likes of Nathan Bates, Nicholas Dahl, Jaden Glusky, Douglas Williams, Blake McCormack, and Christopher Sario competing here tonight. Question is, which cars are they going to be selecting?
That's of course the big question, isn't it? Of course, with the R5 class, it is one of the bigger classes available in Dirt Rally, so you have a range of options. Do you go for the trusty Ford Fiesta, which is seen all over the world of rallying and has been so successful over the years? Or do you mix it up? Do you go for the Citroen, which is, I'm sorry, but one of the ugliest rally cars ever conceived? Or do you go for the very successful, very trusty Skoda, which has been so successful in recent years in the WRC2 class? So whichever way you go, there are options, but there is no defined right option. They're all so close on pace.
Yeah, they absolutely are. I think that there's always been a bit of a soft spot in my heart for the Skoda Fabia, but of course we also saw the Ford Fiesta strutting its stuff out there as well. It's going to be quite interesting seeing how the drivers stack up here. We've got a long service area time as well after these stages. After stage 1 and stage 3, though, the service is short. Drivers get a service after every stage in this series, so if they bin it, they'll likely have time to fix it.
Yeah, they will, and that's going to be so crucial because we were actually speaking to a lot of the drivers beforehand, and they were saying that a lot of these corners are very unsuspecting. It's fast flowing corners, and then bam, you've got a tight hairpin, you've got a square right junction. It's very tricky to get that rhythm going, and these drivers right now are going to have their work cut out as we start to see an interesting selection of cars here, Reese. We see 5 Fiestas, but Christopher Fasario, that is not a Ford.
No, looks like everyone's decided to go for the Ford Fiesta except for Vasario. He's gone for the Mitsubishi Space Star R5. Interesting to see. Well, we'll see how that stacks up against the might of the Fords. All currently in the service area at the moment, getting their cars set up for the stage to come. And of course, it's not the only thing they're going to have to be preparing for as the stage itself, but the weather conditions as well. You can probably see it in flashes on the footage behind these standings. It's actually a bit wet out there. It's been raining. Sun is out a little bit, but drivers are probably going to be facing some grip issues out there to start.
Absolutely, and of course, with only 6 cars running the stage, one at a time, effectively in their own little world, there's not going to be a drying line either, so these drivers are going to be slipping and sliding for the entire 7 kilometers. Of course, this series will go over a couple of days in the in-game world, so it may be dry for the next stage, and it could be totally worse conditions later on. We don't know what the weather is coming up, but what we do know is right now their drivers are scratching their heads.
Starts 50, 2 left long, opens over crest into narrow bridge. Good luck.
All right, here we go then. We will see who gets the best run through this first sector. And of course, we'll be showing all of the angles as the drivers make their way across the stage. That
4,
bar on the left-hand side of the screen
2,
is the
1,
stage sector map. You'll have to see every driver's individual dog as we are going here. Massive back turn to start things off here, looking at Introspector, which is Blake McCormack, and he's going through the tarmac section at the moment. Look at how slippery it is out there.
I'm not at all worried about being in the driver's seat. I am much happier being in the commentary. This looks terrifying at the moment as they weave their way over a tarmac section, just briefly blasting back onto dirt. Now, high speed already. You can see, sure, it's wet conditions. It's slippery. It is challenging, but they are just hammering the throttle down, carrying massive speed the entire way through. Great to see so far.
Yeah, a lot of mechanical grip apparently at their disposal here. They've gone, I presume, for a bit of a softer setup to deal with the wet conditions and also make their way across the gravel here. We check in with Douglas Williams here, who's currently running 4th in the standings at the moment. Currently, it's Nathan Bates who is leading this stage.
Yeah, Nathan was very quick in the preseason testing as well, so he is a bit of a favorite going into this one, but it's so much harder when the pressure is on you. It is the final go time to put the results together. Will he crack under pressure? We don't know yet, but at the moment, he's piecing it all together as we take a look at Jaden Glusky, a very talented driver, and you have to be talented to unfortunately roll a car. He's the first roll of the day, but I stand by what I say in saying he's very talented. Lands on all 4, straight back going again.
Yeah, it doesn't look like all that much damage done to the car either. Check back in with Douglas Williams, who's currently making his way through these huge dips and dives. There's so much preparation required for one of these events, and cutting the corner there, he's cut it a bit too much, almost goes over the berm on the outside. That's going to cost him something like 10 seconds.
But what we're already seeing, Reese, is we said before, these drivers have done a lot of runs here, they've done a lot of rehearsal, but when you get to the pressure moment, when it's time to put it all together, these drivers are already starting to show some cracks, and this is going to be so crucial, playing it smooth, being careful at the moment, because you don't want to throw the rally away on the very first stage. You have to be careful, but what I'm looking at is on your relative on the left side of screen, he is being chased down at the moment by second place. It is tight for the lead at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely is. Shocks chasing down Bates 66. Let's see who gets it done here in the final sector. They are absolutely neck and neck, but it looks like Bates has managed to gain a little bit more time through that section. and seems that the gap is extending slightly, but there's a lot of fast corners here with fences all around. One mistake can put you right into those fences. Chris Vasario, meanwhile, looks like he's picked up a little bit of damage in his Mitsubishi, and unfortunately running dead last by quite some margin. He's going to have to put some work in the next few stages to get that done, but we are approaching the finish line, and it looks like Nathan Bates might just have this if he can keep it together. He can afford to back off a little bit here in the final sector. Will he be able to get it done? Last few turns over the rise, and it's almost the run to the line here. Here he goes then. Well, looks like Nicholas Bates is going to win here. Shocks in second. We have got Blake McCormack completing your top three for this first stage.
Yeah, what a close stage that was in the end. Even though it was the Nicholas Bates or Nathan Bates show up front, it was still relatively close, only a 2-second or so margin at the end. So this is not over by any means, because we see a driver spinning around as we see the official gap there at just a little bit under 3 seconds there. There's so many times you can pull out a lead early on in a rally, but just fall away ever so slightly. And you can see there where Nathan Bates really did his damage was towards the end of the stage there, almost 1.5 seconds quicker than anyone else in the final split of the rally.
Yeah, that's some ridiculous pace from Nathan Bates. Nicholas Dole is Shocks, finishing in second place. And we have the damage report as well. Looks like, unfortunately, McCormack picking up some minor damage and a broken headlight. Damage also for Jaden Glusky and Chris Vasario, but the service area should be enough to fix that minor damage. Yambola Mountain Ascent is the next stage here, and my goodness, it is nothing but turns. You barely get a moment to rest here.
Yeah, no, so these drivers are going to have to keep the concentration levels up. 7 kilometers is a long time in a rally car, and even though they know the stages very well, we did speak to a few of them before the rally, they're still having to rely on their co-driver. None of them know the course inside out, every corner, every bank. None of them know it full out, so there's still moments where there's a hesitation. Is this the 3 right? I think it is. Or is this the 4 right? How much speed can I carry? There is a lot of doubt and questioning that's going on in these drivers' heads as they attack this stage. So really, it's all going to be about who is bravest, who is willing to trust their co-driver the most and put the power down and really maximize this stage here.
Yeah, the drivers were talking about how in some areas the co-driver's calls are a little inaccurate. So yeah, it is all about trust, and you don't have a human co-driver in there with you. The co-driver is handled by the game. It's all pre-recorded voice lines that have been put together by Codemasters. So it is going to be very difficult for the drivers to really pick their way through a lot of these corners, and that's part of the reason why they put so much practice in and make sure that they almost know these stages off by heart. Then they know exactly where to push. Either way, it's time for the green flag. Looks like an interesting run here off the start-finish line, but well, that fence will easily collect you if you get your start wrong. Timer ticks down, and we are go. So, leading the way initially, looks like it's, oh goodness, Bates actually getting a really good run there through the first right-hander. Very tight indeed, but now they got to face off against these rock walls here. Look at that. Oh no, we've already got a problem there for Blake McCormack. He's found the trees.
Yeah, that's a horrible start there. Very unfortunate. He just has to keep himself composed now. Just brush it off, let it go. It's happened. Push on. There's still a lot of this rally to go. Don't let it get to you, and just keep on focusing forward as we now take a look at Christopher Vasario. And in that little Mitsubishi, it's the Mitsubishi that can. But what I'm seeing at the moment, Reese, is there's still a little bit of a bumper damage at the front of that car there. So that service time that we just had, only 15 minutes, wasn't enough to fully repair his car. So what we're going to see here is drivers having to look after their equipment, because you can't just push in the entire way through.
Yeah, certainly not. They will have a 45-minute service after this stage, though, so that gives them a bit of extra time to work out their issues. We keep our eyes here on Jaden Glusky, who is pounding away out there. Look at how that car rides these dips and bumps. Fantastic to watch. And the suspension movement of these things. Just got to try and keep it off those rock walls, though. Oh, it's so difficult to get it right, especially when you're going at the speeds these guys are.
Oh, absolutely. It's often said so many times over that rally drivers are one of the most impressive forms of drivers in the entire world of motorsport. The precision, the technique, and the bravery these guys have. Of course, it's only virtual, but there's a lot at stake to be the first winner of a Motorsport Australia Dirt Rally sanctioned event. There is pressure on the line for these drivers. They all want to be that person at the top at the end of the rally, and at the moment they are pinpoint precise, nailing these corners as we take a look at Nicholas Dole weaving his way through the countryside. And look at the commitment, as that is a big drop off to the side, but he doesn't care. He's just going to throw it around for all it's worth.
Yeah, he had to really gather it up for the tight right-hander that followed, and looking like a very fast section here. Just got to be careful again to keep it out of these walls. Look at how close they get to them as they try and apex these corners. Remember, it's gravel. They're going sideways as well. Update on how things are going in terms of position. Well, Nathan Bates leading once again. Looks to me like Glusky is having a bit of a better time of it this time around.
Yeah, he is indeed. He's having a much better run as he attacks the stage at the moment. But we take a look at Christopher Vasario again in that trusty Mitsubishi, having to contend with a little bit of dirt, but that's all right, because everyone is prepared for the dirt when they come into Dirt Rally. But yeah, Jaden Glusky having a much better showing. It's tight for second, has to be said, between him and Nicholas Dole. But Jaden just coming out on top at the moment. He's a driver with a lot of rally experience, playing other rally games as well, and even featured in the FIA Rally Star event as well. So he knows what he's doing on the dirt, but we're getting up to a very high-speed section where there's a...
Whoa!
Holy cow, get back on the ground. That's where the car's fastest.
Oh, goodness me.
Oh, this isn't another jump, is it? Oh, no. Oh.
Yep. Couple in a row, it seems, and that looked like a very hard landing there for Nicholas Dole. Oh, wow. He's only just managed to get that thing gathered up. Imagine the pounding that the suspension has to go through on a stage like this as we approach the finish line. And once again, it's going to be Nathan Bates who wins, but who's going to get second? Oh, hello. Time's rolling in. Actually looks like Jordan Glusky. No. The times are jumping around.
Yeah, we'll wait for the official results to come in at the end of the stage. Dirt Rally can be a little bit funky at the best of times for that kind of things. We see Christopher Vasario making his way across the line, and we do get Nathan Bates confirmed with the win there. But tell you what, Ray, second place, very close indeed.
Oh, only a second separating Nicholas Dole and Jordan Glusky. That is incredible there, and it looks like it all happened in the final sector between the two of them. Look at how close they were all through that stage.
Yeah, absolutely. And even just the, the top three there, they were all within a second in that final split. So who says rally driving isn't a close sport? As I'm getting the impression we're seeing just a little bit of minor body damage from these drivers. And a lot of that, honestly, more than likely, is them getting very close up against the fences and everything. It's not necessarily them hitting a tree or something. It's more just running so close to those walls. Maybe they're knocking a mirror or just glancing a little scrape or something on the back bumper. But for these drivers, they now get a 45-minute service, which is going to be well needed because Taylor Farm Sprint Race is a track that a lot of these drivers have been saying is one of the more challenging.
Yeah, and from the air, you can see that it definitely starts off quick, doesn't it? And then follows with a tight sequence of S's and then a right angle left-hander. We've got a few different intersections to negotiate here as well, which the drivers are certainly going to have a bit of trouble with.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm also noticing that there's so many sections that are quite high speed, but then go immediately into a very slow section as well, with quite a few square rights and a square left towards the end there as well. So these drivers are going to have to make sure they're focused because there is no clear rhythm here from what I can tell. It's not all flowing, it's not all slow speed. This is a circuit where, like we mentioned before the previous track, you're going to have to trust your co-driver.
Yeah, indeed. A lot of blind corners around stages like this as everyone gets ready once more for the Taylor Farm Sprint Stage 3. Next stage, we are going to be doing Yambola Mountain again, but this time it's going to be the descent. So we'll be doing the same stage as S2 in reverse, which means we get to go through those jumps again. Looking forward to that.
Oh, I cannot wait. And I'm just glad that someone here has the Steam username of Shocks, because Shocks is exactly what gets broken on those jumps. They are brilliant fun to watch. But what does Taylor's Farm Sprint have to serve up for us? I'm very keen to see our first car get underway in just a couple of seconds' time.
Yeah, we'll wait for the ticker and see which driver gets the best run off the line. Very important to put the power down properly here on a gravel stage. Once again, split into 4 individual sectors. We'll see who leads at the end of this one as the green flag flies and we are away. At the moment, actually looks to me like Nicholas Dole got the best start there, but you can see Nathan Bates trying to come back at him.
Yeah, well, this is all about which car's the most speed, and at the moment, yeah, it definitely looks like Nicholas Dole is most happy with his foot on the floor as they make their way through this very fast section. How's the commitment at full throttle? That is brilliant as they weave their way through these fences. And for those wondering, these fences, they are actually breakable. If you do hit them, you can go through them, but they hurt so much. They will hurt the car a lot. So these drivers are more than ever going to have to make sure they are pinpoint precise in the middle of the road, because an error here is more costly than a lot of other places on the course.
Indeed. Well, we did see that there was a brief bit of tarmac there, and we're going back to tarmac again for the run over the bridge. Slight bit of wood there as well. A little bit of welcome grip through that corner before we go back to gravel. And at the moment, looks like Nathan Bates is absolutely strutting his stuff out there as we keep an eye on Nicholas Dole to see what he can do to overcome that lead.
Well, absolutely, and it's going to be a tough one because any rally driver in Australia with the last name Bates is always very competitive. How many Australian rally championships have they won over the last few years? But at the moment, Nathan is doing a brilliant job. But look at the battle behind the entire field, apart from Chris Vasario, who might have run into a bit of trouble there for just a split second. But overall, the pack is very condensed. They're all running very similar times. I don't know if that's just the benefit of having the high-speed nature of the track at the moment or what, but these guys are all running within seconds of one another.
Yeah, they are. This is going to be very close. One mistake will be disaster, as it actually looks like, oh, that's Introspector there. That's Blake McCormack, who unfortunately has come a cropper somewhere, now running last. It looks like Vasario's had the same kind of issue. The bottom two now dropping off the back of the pack, but it's so close between Glusky and Douglas Williams.
Oh, that was a bit of a rough transition there, trying to flick the car from one direction to the next at low speed is never easy, making sure you get the weight transfer really nice. But at the moment, Nicholas Dole, is he even reeling in Nathan Bates a little bit? I reckon that gap's a little bit smaller than the last time we looked at it. In fact, I think the entire top 4 has kind of condensed on one another as Jaden Glusky, and you've also got the driver of Douglas Williams all just closing in on one another just a bit as Nathan then puts the power down and opens up that lead a bit more. But this is great stuff, and I keep going back to it, but I'm blown away by the average speed these guys are carrying over this stage. They are absolutely nailing every corner on a track width of no more than about 3 meters.
Yeah, there's a lot of precision required and a lot of bravery in rallying with that drop as well off to the right-hand side of the drivers. We keep our eye here on Nicholas Dole as he tries to overcome Nathan Bates, who looks like will be leading here into the final stage. And coming up to the start-finish line once more, it looks like Nathan Bates is going to take his 3rd stage victory there, but not without a bit of a slide across the line.
No, he's definitely got a few style points there. That is very nice indeed to finish it off as we get our last few drivers just coming across the line. In fact, it's going to be pretty close here between Chris and Introspector Blake McCormack. So we'll see who gets out on top there over the high-speed run. Oh, and it's very, very tight, but Chris does get P5 by 0.2 of a second. Unfortunately, the lead a little bit more spread out. So can anyone pile the pressure on to Nathan Bates as we head into the final 2 stages? We have the invert of our last stage once more. So that's the big jumps once more. The final challenge is, of course, the 12-kilometer stage, where I'm really interested to see how these drivers go. Can they manage the pressure of keeping the composure for almost 7 minutes long on a rally stage?
Looks like a bit of trouble as well for McCormack there. He's dealing with engine temperature issues, and that would have been due to his crash on that stage that we just saw. So he'll probably be using some of the service time to try and repair that as we get geared up for the descent of Yambola Mountain. So a little bit of an inverse here, Bo. When we did the ascent, it started off quite twisty with a fast finish. Now it's a fast start as we make our way down the mountain.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, these drivers going to have to keep their composure and keep their focus going, because it's going to start off fast, like you say, but gradually over the course of the stage, it gets twistier, gets tighter. And you can see towards the end of the stage, we're talking about not quite hairpins, of course, with the nature of the stage, but very tight corners indeed. You don't want to overcommit too early. You just want to keep the flow going over the course of this run. But let's just not beat around the bush here, Reese. The jumps are coming up nice and early.
Oh, they are. This is going to be a spectacular start to the stage at Yambola Mountain. Well, at the moment, it is Nathan Bates's rally to lose right now, but he has to keep it composed and keep it cool. And have a look at this. It is very wet out there, full-on rain conditions, barely any sunlight hitting the circuit, and, well, plenty of standing water on the tarmac sections, which will make a few drivers, I think twice about pushing.
Yeah, absolutely. They're going to have to be very precise now on all the pedal inputs as well, as the lights are about to extinguish and our drivers are off and away for stage number 4 of this Motorsport Australia Esports Dirt Rally 2.0 event. And already these drivers having to just squiggle a little bit over the road surface. The grip isn't there that they had last time around this stage. Last time it was sunny conditions, and now look already, that was a very late weight transition there for Blake McCormack. So he is having to already just be a little bit more precise with his inputs as we get up to one of the quickest points on this course.
Yeah, Chris Vasario as well, going over the jumps. Bates already going over the first of those jumps, and I believe this might be the second one. Up he goes, and that was a nice smooth landing actually. Just goes to show how talented Bates is in these conditions.
There is actually a technique to flying a car in the air. A lot of people don't think there is. They think you just jump and whatever happens from there is what happens. But that's not true, because you can use the actual forces from the wheels rotating to control the airflow of the car as it's going through the air with your accelerator and your brake. By braking, stop the wheels rotating, what you're going to do is cause the car to actually nose down, whereas by keeping the throttle on, as just to miss that for a second, Douglas Williams did not miss. That wall, unfortunately, just clipped that little bank. Fortunately, didn't actually lose too much time, but how is that going to affect him over the next couple of minutes of this stage?
Yeah, we'll have to keep an eye out for how heavy the damage may or may not be. It only looked like a small tap to the wall, and these rally cars are pretty tough machines, so I don't think it'll cost him much in terms of pace, but your confidence and your concentration will be broken if you hit a wall in the wrong place, no matter how damaging it is.
Yeah, absolutely. As we hit the halfway stage of this particular stage, the halfway stage of this stage, I like it. I'll go with that next time. But Nicholas Doll is keeping the pressure on Nathan Bates. This is probably one of the closer little battles we've had so far. This is not over yet, Reese. Can Nathan hold on for 4 out of 4 stages, or is this the moment the tide starts to turn?
Yeah, is it the moment indeed? We ride on board here with drivers running lower down, but back in touch with Bates here. You can see that the top 3 are covered completely on the left-hand side of your screen. You can't even tell them apart. They are that close together. One mistake is going to define who takes victory here, and they are in a very quick section. Look at all the standing water there. The headlights are reflecting off the gravel. That's how wet it is.
Yeah, this is brutal conditions for these drivers. They've done so many runs in the dry, but how many have they done in the wet? These are not typical conditions that you would expect on this particular stage. So they've been thrown a massive curveball here, and what we're seeing is that Nathan Bates can't respond to the conditions quite as well as the others can, and his advantage at the front is being cut down. He still holds the lead and starts to use his massive talent that we know he has to just build a little bit of a margin over Jaden Glusky and Nicholas Doll. You can see the gap open up a bit, but the commitment and the precision of these drivers is brilliant as the rain continues to fall. It's not just the wet surface, it is still bucketing down here.
Yeah, looked like some late stage rain there, as that was a big cut there from Nathan Bates. Oh, he almost loses it. Things are going to really tighten up here. Oh, he's off rhythm. He hasn't gotten the line right in those last couple of corners. That could make all the difference as they make the run to the line. But it looks to me like Bates is just going to hold on there for the win. Oh, I can't wait to see those margins.
Yeah, that's going to be very tight indeed. You can see the entire top three. I'm going to say about a second and a half. We'll get the official results in just a couple of seconds. But that was great stuff. And second and third in particular will be quite close as well, as Christopher Vasario is just coming around the final corner in
Big
that
damage.
Mitsubishi now. And wasn't quite as close for the win, but second and third once again, Reese.
Yeah, goodness me. That is only half a second covering Jaden, Glusky, and Nicholas Dole. Just incredible stuff. And look at the look at the sector times as well. Those guys are barely separated by anything in sectors 2 and 4. Incredible stuff. But heavy damage for Chris Vasario there. He's still dealing with some high engine temperature and a broken headlight. And looking at that Mitsubishi as it came to the end of the stage, and that front end looked very crumpled.
Yeah, definitely running into a couple of issues there, which is very unfortunate for Christopher. And maybe that's the reason why the others have gone for the Ford. Maybe it's not necessarily an issue of mistakes from Christopher. Maybe that Mitsubishi actually a little harder to drive and extract the pace out of. Well, maybe the Ford just a little bit more forgiving. But oh boy, 12.5 kilometers. This is not going to be an easy cakewalk by any means. It is the Mount Kai Pass reverse. And this is going to be the biggest challenge of them all, Reese.
Yeah, looks to me like the first half of this stage is actually going to be Yambola Mountain descent once more, but then a newer section that the drivers are going to have to negotiate. Of course, the way stages and locations work in Dirt Rally 2.0 is there's a few roads that are modeled. They are split into sub-stages that can then be run in forward or reverse depending on how you want to run your event. So you end up getting quite a few stages out of just a few stretches of road.
Yeah, you do, but obviously the challenge with that comes from, of course, you might know the stage from one direction, but do you know it from both? Do you know it in one condition? Do you not know it in the other? And when there is multiple paths, do you know how every course blends into the other to maximize that performance? Either way, one driver that is maximizing their performance is Nathan Bates. Can he go 5 from 5?
That is the question. He has dominated this rally so far. Will he be able to nab another win and seal victory here in the final stage? They are off. And right now, looks to me like Nicholas Dole is leading the way, but we'll look for Nathan Bates to try and make his way through to the lead in just a few moments, considering the pace he's shown so far.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see already just this difference in speed you can approach this section from the dry to the wet, how much those conditions thrown them in the previous one. But this is the fast moment. This is the big jump, massive air, just launching the car through the air. And hey, every good show needs an encore. So let's do it one more time. Launch the car into the air, massive landing. But again, Nathan Bates' car, so controlled. How much damper work, how much, control arm work has he done on that car to make sure that it's as drivable as possible? And is that the secret these other drivers are going to have to unlock to challenge him for round 2?
Yeah, exactly. Well, speaking of challenges, have a look at Jordan Glusky here. He's actually leading the way in that number 33 Fiesta, but coming up to a twisty section at the moment, and that seems to be where Bates is pretty strong. So we'll see how long Glusky can hold on to this. Just got to make sure that every transition from one corner to the next is perfect.
Yeah, that's it. You have to hook these corners up. It's very difficult to find a flow in rally with every corner being so different. But at the moment, Jaden Glusky is just flowing from corner to corner, making this work and holding off the charge from Nathan Bates at the moment, who I just quickly want to touch on. Nathan Bates and Christopher Vasario, the only two drivers in this particular race who are choosing to race in VR. So more than anything, they've got a great awareness of what's going around them and their own car placement, because they can look around and see everything going on with them, whilst the rest of our drivers all opting to use screens. So there's a bit of variety there, but Jaden Glusky, screen or VR, does not matter to him because his pace is fantastic at the moment.
Yeah, he's actually doing really well at the moment. We found him, you know, racing for second and third occasionally as, oh dear, it looks like there's a little bit of a problem there for Glusky. He's fallen down the order and is now in 4th spot. Something's gone wrong for him there. Oh, there's big damage on that car. Something's gone wrong there for Jaden Glusky.
Oh no, that is a disaster for him. He was doing so well. But the thing is, when you're pushing that hard, perhaps overdriving the car to challenge someone like Nathan Bates, it's very easy to overstep the mark. And I'm just fearing that maybe Jaden Glusky has just overstepped the mark ever so slightly, because even now, watching the body language of the car, it's moving around a lot. He's not flowing the car from corner to corner anymore. He is throwing it in at max aggression and maybe asking a bit more than the car can actually give him at the moment.
Well, second place now falls to Nicholas Dole here, who's trying to chase down Nathan Bates. He's in the lead still, but not by much. There could be a big change here when they get to the end of the Yambola Mountains section of this stage, moving into part 2. 8 splits for this one, and every one of them counts.
Absolutely it does. You cannot make a single mistake in one, or you're going to be further behind going into the next remaining splits. You have to be on it from the start of the stage all the way to the very end. And at the moment, it's Nathan Bates who's showing he can do that from stage to stage. But is anyone able to challenge him? Because we saw the split times from stage 4 just before, and the driver that was able to run him very close, in particular in splits 1, 3, and 4, was actually the driver of Nicholas Dole, who finds himself in second at the moment. So we know the flashes of speed are there for Nicholas. He just hasn't quite hooked it up over a stage.
Oh no!
And maybe that's the reason why, as overdriving a little bit clips a bank and lucky to hold on to it. That's a bit of a shock to the confidence, but he's still pushing on hard. He's not going to let it shake him. Can he chase down Bates?
Can he indeed? Very high speed section here. A lot of time can be made up if you nail these sections, and you see that the gaps are starting to come down. He is right out sideways through these corners. Just magnificent displays of driving from everyone in this event.
Yeah, it will never surprise me or fail to impress me just how much car control these guys have, throwing the car in from side to side. It is great to see, and the best thing is the cars will take it. They're happy with the slip angle and will make it work almost every single time as they work their way through. And look at this, the speed is great, and wow, is there any more of that corner you would like to cut, sir?
Oh man, he was taking big bites out of the grass there, checking in with Bates. Actually looking like some slight damage to the front for Dole. They are actually closing up a little bit more. They're running almost neck and neck right now. A few seconds behind is Dole from Bates, but again, one mistake in these last 2 splits could define that, and you see how much Dole is cutting every corner here. He's trying to get every remaining tenth he can.
Yeah, and he's doing a great job at that, but the thing is, it is so risky. There's so many corners. Again, how well do you know the course? If you go for a cut at one particular corner and you think, oh, this is probably fine, what do you do if within all that long grass is a big rock that is just waiting to rip a wheel off of your car? It's risky, it's dicey. That's why a driver like Nathan Bates isn't doing it out front. He knows there's a lot to lose right now. The pressure is on him. He can't make a mistake. Whereas for Nicholas Dole, doesn't matter. Throw everything you've got at it, push hard, see what you can make happen.
Well, check out that suspension movement across the tarmac sections. I love watching the suspension of a rally car over these jumps. Very narrow wooden bridge and braking for a tight left-hander and almost getting back onto the dirt here. It looks like this tarmac section is going to run a little bit longer. That's where it ends. That's where Nicholas Bates is. He has crossed the final split line and is making the run to the finish at the moment. What on earth can Nicholas Dole do from here?
Oh, it's going to be very tough to do anything from this point, but I'm sure he's going to give it everything he's got. But time is ticking down, and Nathan Bates is putting together another perfect stage. He's been unflappable over the last 5 stages, or over the 4.5 stages, and the 5th stage is coming together very nicely indeed over the bridge, and that is more than likely victory for Nathan Bates. What a fantastic display that was.
Yeah, that looks like every single stage won there by Nathan Bates, and that will be the win in round 1 of the Motorsport Australia Esports Dirt Rally series. And everyone else coming across the line at the moment. Unfortunately, it looks like some further problems for Blake McCormack as Chris Vasario comes across the line in that very damaged Mitsubishi. But yeah, it looks to me like McCormack, he had a really red-hot go at it, but unfortunately, all coming undone in those final couple of stages.
Yeah, absolutely. There was so much potential there. And obviously, there's going to be a lot of things to build confidence from going into round 2 as well. So there's no need to beat yourself up over a rally that didn't quite come together this time, because you can see the flashes of speed are there. He just needs to put it all together into the next round. So lots to take away from, and a lot of these drivers will be going back, watching the broadcast, looking at, what Nathan Bates did and being like, all right, I know where the homework needs to be done for next round. Let's make it happen.
Yeah, and speaking of next round, we go to New Zealand, and it is going to be a fantastic sequence of events there as we check out our final results from this stage by 2.8 seconds, 2.7. 2.5, call it 2.5, is what Nathan Bates took that win by. And here are the results then. Well, unfortunately, it went wrong for Chris Vasario and Blake McCormack, but some really awesome jobs there from Nicholas Dole, from Nathan Bates, Jaden Glusky as well, really throwing it in there. I've got to give a shout out to Doug Williams as well. It really was a fantastic display from every driver who competed in this event. And we do have another prize to announce here. One random competitor from the qualifying series that was run before this event. $50 cash being given away to the winner, selected randomly, and it goes to Kidzu. Norval Setyawan is going to be coming home with $50 in cold hard cash. Congratulations to you.
Yeah, that's a fantastic prize there that's being given away. And that's the thing we need to sort of reiterate as well, is tonight you saw, 6 of the top qualifiers, but what you don't see is the massive field of drivers that all tried to get into this event. There were so many people competing to get into this top 6. Not all of them were quite able to make it happen. But if you want to get your chance to compete for round number 2, again, you just have to fight your way into that top 6. It's a very fierce competition, but I'd love to see more drivers enter for round 2.
Yeah, certainly would, and we'll see who manages to get into the top 6 from the qualifying for round 2 at New Zealand. And that is going to conclude the racing portion of this event. We should probably take a moment to talk to our event winner. At the moment, it's looking like it is going to be Nathan Bates, who joins us in the commentary box now. Nathan, looks like you've come away with the win in round 1 of the Motorsport Australia Dirt Rally here in Monaro, Australia. 5 from 5 stage wins, but it couldn't have been easy.
Oh no, there's definitely some moments there, and I did take the time to pick between the stages, because it really didn't matter at the beginning. But I had a moment second stage, I think. I ran wide and tapped the cliff, but I had actually a very big moment that could have been running on the last stage of the tarmac jump. I just went wide into the bundle of trees. And it was just a bit wider. It could have been damaging, but I just managed to pull it back in.
Yeah, well, nonetheless, pull it in you did, and I think the big thing about rallying is minimizing mistakes, and despite the fact that you did make those 1 or 2 errors, the rest of your rally went pretty well, I have to say.
Yeah, so the rest of it was, I very much did keep it a gear down. I could have been more aggressive with the car setup, but it gets a lot riskier the further you go. So I just tried to keep it as clean as I could and safe as I could.
Well, regardless, big congratulations to all of us here at SimSpeed TV for your victory. And I suppose you're looking forward to New Zealand as much as we are. Before we let you go, is there anyone you'd like to thank?
I'd like to say thanks for everyone at Speed Sim for organising this event. I'm sure everyone's had a good time. And to the commentators as well. Thank you.
Well, big congratulations once again to Nathan Bates taking victory there in the first round. Now, Bo, I think we should leave it to you to interview our second place driver. I actually have somewhat forgotten who exactly finished second.
Well, we never quite got the official results, unfortunately. But what we might do is we might just get the driver who goes by the little tag of Shocks, also known as Nicholas Doll, to come in and give us a little bit of a chat. You gave Nathan Bates a massive run for his money across several stages, but couldn't quite piece it together overall. But how do you rate your event tonight?
Yeah, I was pretty happy with it. I was expecting to be a bit further off, but I was pretty surprised to see how close it was on each stage.
Yeah, no, you definitely were very close. And there was a couple of times we saw the splits where you were able to gain a 10th or two on Nathan Bates. But overall, what lessons or learnings can you take from this particular round into next round in New Zealand?
I think probably drove a little bit faster, unfortunately. But take a little bit more risk, maybe. I think I was driving a little bit safe tonight, and a few corners I could have pushed a bit harder on. But yeah, it'll be fun to see next time.
No, I definitely will. And what do you think of New Zealand? Of course, we hear so many drivers in the Real World Rally Championship talking about how flowing, how cambered it is, and how much speed you can take through the corners with quite a nice loose gravel as well compared to here in Australia. So is that going to benefit your driving style? Is that something that you're looking forward to?
Yeah, I should really enjoy driving the New Zealand stages on this game. So yeah, it'll be fun to drive it next week.
No, absolutely. And one final question for you before you leave. Everyone chose the Ford tonight. Is there any chance we could see you mix it up for car choice going into next round?
Maybe we'll have to see, but I've put a lot of hours in the Ford, the Mark II, so we'll have to see what happens.
Very nice, very nice. Keeping cards close to the chest. We'll see what happens. Before I let you go, buddy, is there anybody you'd like to thank from tonight?
Well, yeah, Nathan would be a good one. He was seeing the times it was pushing me during the week to get more time on the stages and that.
All right, beautiful. Thank you so much, Nicholas. A very well-deserved second place here for tonight. But what we might do is we might hand it back over to Reese, who I believe is standing by with Jaden Glusky.
I am indeed. Congratulations on P3, Jaden. You definitely gave it your all, just like everyone did in that rally. How did you deal with the change in conditions?
To be fair, when I learnt that we were going to be doing some rainy stages, maybe like half an hour before the event, I went and actually did my first rain time trial in the game, and actually found it was pretty comfortable. So I don't know. I guess it came a little bit naturally, I guess, but it probably helped that the stage that was wet, the very wet one, Yambola Mountain, that's the one stage that I do know off by heart in this game, so it probably helped a little bit. But yeah, I guess I surprised myself there.
Well, definitely a very pleasant surprise indeed. P3 for you in the Australian stage of this Rally Championship. And of course, we go to New Zealand for the next round. What's your familiarity like with those stages? What kind of practice will you be putting in for that?
I do not know the New Zealand stages at all. Usually when I jump on dirt, I've only got like 25 hours or something in the game, and I only just jump in the Australian stages every now and then. So yeah, I'm going to have to go do some prep for sure.
Well, we wish you the best of luck with your prep and congratulate you for your third place result. Anyone you'd like to thank for that result before we let you go?
No, not really. I guess.
All right. Fair enough, Jaden. Well, thanks very much for joining us, and hopefully we get a chance to talk to you again after NZ.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate the well-organised event. First comp that I've ever done before, and good experience, so I appreciate it.
Yeah, well, that was Jaden Glusky there, P3 in Australia. Well, Bo, that's going to conclude our running of this event. But of course, if you check out our broadcast chat on YouTube, we do it all again in 2 weeks. The qualifying for New Zealand actually starts next week. So you can go to the Motorsport Australia website and find the form in the esports section if you want to compete. And please do. This is a fantastic initiative by Motorsport Australia, and we've had a lot of fun doing this.
Oh, absolutely. What's not to like about slinging some rally cars through the Australian outback? It's great. And hey, the New Zealand, countryside is pretty damn cool too. Like I mentioned earlier in that interview, it's very cambered roads. It's very fast sweeping. So if you're looking for a more easy initiation into rallying, by all means, NZ, probably your best shout. So don't be afraid to jump on in, give it a try, see how you fare. And hopefully we see you in the top 6 for next week.
Hopefully we do indeed. Well, thanks very much, everybody, for tuning in on YouTube, Facebook, and Kick here on SimSpeed TV. I'm Reese Gardner, Bo Albert with me in the comms box, and Jay Kennedy handling everything behind the scenes. Big thanks, everybody, and also a huge thanks to Motorsport Australia for coming on board with this event. From all of us here, we will see you next time.
It's motorsport, but not as you know it. Test yourself and your everyday road car. Safe, affordable, but most of all, fun. And all you need is your daily driver. Experience the thrill of a sprint day. Race against the clock at a hill climb. Or test your reflexes with an auto test. It takes just 3 simple steps to get started. Get on the start line. Search Motorsport Australia Daily Driver today.